Well, it's summer now here in the mountains, and somehow we are already halfway through 2025. Time can feel slower up here, and yet the days keep slipping by before my eyes. The latter half of spring passed so quickly, traveling, visiting family and friends, all while trying to be present for life. Somewhere along the way, I came down with a sickness that had me down for the count for quite some time. But I'm so happy to have been healing and excited to create again. When I returned to my van, I found I hadn't been the only one settling in. A small family of mice had moved in uninvited, but clearly making themselves at home. And as much as I love the little critters, I know the challenge they pose to hidden wires, insulation, and all the little nooks and crannies in a vehicle. So the first order of business was a gentle relocation. I gathered them up and let the animals say goodbye. And then it was off to a faraway adventure in the woods. I have some exciting news to share. After many months away for work, Jesse is finally back at camp. The animals and I have missed him deeply, and having him home again feels like everything is falling back into place. There's a certain strength that comes from doing things alone, and after a long season of solitude, I've learned how capable I really am. But I've also missed the softness that comes with sharing life and the quiet rhythm of working alongside someone. And we've also received some big news. We'll be setting roots down here in the mountains for longer, which means it's time to finally begin some of the projects we've been dreaming about. And there's a lot of work to be done. At the top of the list is chickens. We're building this coop out using the old platform from Jesse's very first truck camper and repurposing whatever scrap wood we can find. Thank you so much to Jackery for sponsoring this video and for powering our current homestead project. We've been using their 2,000 watt portable power station to run all of our tools while building this chicken coop, and I really appreciate how quiet it's been and how flexible it's been to use overall. It can be charged in under 2 hours from the wall or in a day of sun with 2 of their solar panels, and it has lasted quite a while. Being up here in the mountains teaches you a lot about flow and the importance of being prepared, especially with the weather. Right now, we're actually racing the incoming rains to get this build done, and when the storms do roll in, they can be sudden and intense up here, often taking the power with them. I've actually been using their solar generators for over 7 years now, and last fall during Hurricane Helene, we lost power for days with no signal and no idea when it would come back. Luckily, during that time, I used my smaller units, the 1,300 watt, to power lights and devices for days, which really did bring such a peace of mind in the middle of all the uncertainty. I've relied on them for a while, and this new model is their most practical one yet, so if you've been thinking about power off-grid or just want something to bring on your next adventure, I'd highly recommend bringing a Jackery along. It's our second day working on the coop, and the weather has already started shifting. The clouds rolled in faster than we expected, and the roof still isn't on. We actually picked up a few hens from the neighbors this morning, and since they're already here, there's no turning back now. The timing definitely isn't perfect, but what I've learned is that it rarely ever is. There's something about these summer storms that remind me progress is never as linear as you'd like it to be. Lately, I've been thinking about how we always want to feel ready before beginning something. But life doesn't really wait for readiness. It asks us to show up and just start with building the thing anyways. Even when the timing feels uncertain or the ground feels soft underfoot, I'm constantly learning that there's a gentle kind of courage in continuing to lay the foundations for the life that you want to grow despite the unknown.
Wow, that's so cool. beep, 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 beep.
Chi-Chi's head in the back. After learning how to make sourdough at home, I started falling in love with the idea of fermentation. It began with simple kraut recipes and homemade ginger ales, but now I've been obsessed with kimchi. In a world that often prizes speed and perfection, fermenting reminds me to slow down and to trust that transformation happens quietly in its own rhythm. It's a practice of patience and of presence, but there's something really grounding about it. And after this past spring, I've definitely been craving that lately. Processes that ask you to slow down and pay attention. When you make your own food, when you really care for it, it feels different. It's not just about eating, but more so participating in the whole process itself. And there's something kind of sacred in that. Watching it change day by day, knowing what went into it, it makes me feel more connected to what I'm eating, to the land, and to myself. We are just past the solstice now, and though the days are still long, you can truly feel the soft turning of time. And despite how fast it all moves, I'm trying to embrace what's here right now. It can be a daily challenge, really, being present to notice the simple moments, but it's a challenge worth working on. I thank you so much for tuning in to catch up with me. Until next time, cheers.